Perfect.
And welcome everybody once again. Truth or Tinfoil, and yes, you look right there and you see it. Brandi got a lot uglier over the week. Okay,
It's a hard week, folks. Not
as you
all
can see,
not
we
all
got
of us not all of us ladies can get dressed up for every single episode.
well, that's true. I understand that, and as you can tell, like we said, we have the gentleman, the scholar, the know all be all of well, what'd you say about just about everything? Will say,
Mhm.
Jason McLean. How are you, my sir?
Well, better. I'm here with you. How could I be anything less than spectacular?
Well, you could be here with Brandi.
Well, that's true. That's true.
I know I'm not that much eye candy, but anyway,
Well, hold on. Here's the problem. How could I be here if Brandy was here? We're the same person, right? I mean, I thought that was the
we're gonna call it that for now. But Schrodinger's cat. Okay.
exactly. There you go.
All right, guys. Welcome to Truth or Temple again. Once again, I'll go quickly over our schedule for the weekend. I mean, very quickly because I'm not any good at this at all. Tomorrow night we have 7 o'clock. This is all Central Time, mind you. 7 o'clock Central. We have the Diva Dimension with Daniel Diva. And then behind that, we have the front porch with Tex and Brandi and whoever else happens to show up. And I think I can't even remember. I looked to see who. I think Kristen's there this week with him too. So, but we
Yeah.
got that. And then on Tuesday night, we got Beyond BMR. And on Wednesday night, we have Inhumanoids with Barton Nunley. But we also have, before that, we have Donnie Cho says, well, he says
Stuff.
something. We don't know
Yeah.
what he says half the time, but I need to
That's
get him
also
on
fair.
here next week so he could do the Ningen. I've been getting beat up about the
Yeah, I
Ningen
was
a
thinking the
lot. So
same thing. Yeah, I was
yeah,
wondering why
so
you called me. I'm like,
I've
well, I
got a
called
couple
Brandi.
of pictures that somebody sent me, but they're ones that'll go, really? Why are you sending me this? Okay, so
Yeah,
but
I gotcha.
I'm gonna. I haven't even talked to him. I need to see if he'll be ready to do it next week or not. But anyway, so we got that on Wednesday night, and then Thursday night you got. We're starting off. I believe it's not this week, but next week. I'm not for sure, but the new show with Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World, on
Excellent.
Thursday night. I believe that's at 7, and at 8 o'clock is Blondes and Booze, their podcast, and on Friday night at 7 o'clock is Blondes and Booze and the Woo. And after that, I think to do that a little early so that way Josh can get his paranormal roundtable in at 8. And
Mhm.
after that, we do nothing really on Saturday unless we decide to throw something together like we did yesterday. And tonight, every Sunday, 5 o'clock, Truth Tinfoil coming in right behind us will be Infamous Minds with Tex and Danielle. I think I covered it all.
That sounds about right.
If you start doing Jason McLean questions, everything again, I'd have something else to throw out there.
Well, yeah, but that's not going to happen at least for 3 months.
3 months. I think we ought to go on strike. Anyway,
What do you think I did?
okay. All right. So since you're our resident biblical scholar slash, how do you say that? Theologian? Is that how it's
I mean,
pronounced?
I'm a guy who draws comics. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody want to have a actual biblical talk with this man? You better come with your packed lunch because he's going to get you. All right. But that being said, I thought we'd hit a few, some, angel style pictures this week.
Excellent. Excellent. Something
So
that involves both my artistic skills and some theology. Love it. Love it. Bring it. Bring
yeah.
it. Bring it,
So
troll.
Troll. I forgot I'm Tech Troll Unleashed. Now I'm Unleashed. Remember that, okay?
Mhm.
Okay. Here comes the first one. This is a little interesting to me because, like I said, it quite easily I might be able to explain it away, but I've got to look at it a little bit closer.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll definitely want to enlarge that one.
Okay. As
Question:
you can see,
is this being done in audio only on some channel, or is it just visual?
well, the podcast goes out as audio. That's it.
Okay, so then let me briefly describe this particular image.
Okay.
It is a snapshot of what appears in someone's backyard. What appears to be a woman, and then what like a blonde woman, say what
Yeah.
late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, I
Uh,
would say that.
it's at night, and then there's what appears like she's got
Wings.
wings of light coming off
Yeah.
of her. Everything else is white, straight down. So anyway, just for those who are listening to the audio version of this podcast.
I yeah, and like I said, this is just audio only. Is that just on the podcast because I don't do this for any of the radio stations that I work with and stuff. So this just goes on ours, and
Mhm.
that's it.
Cool.
And as we're looking at this, though, you can see the lady's hair.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is something that is causing this flare. Obviously, and I'm just going to straight out call it a flare for the time
Yeah.
being, for lack of a better word. But it's just funny that this flare is happening just on her, around her body. You can't see her body at all.
Yeah.
You can see, I can't tell if that's her hand or just part of her hair up here on her right side.
I'm gonna go with hair because it there's enough there that kind of indicates that it's like maybe she's got longer blonde hair and it's swept to the side and it's draping down.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that because you can't make out any of her eye color, her hair color, other than just we kind of pretty sure she's blonde. Um,
Yeah.
there's no darkening the eyebrows. Everything's there as far as the face, but once you go past that shoulder over here on the left hand side, there's nothing.
Mhm.
You can't
Yeah.
see anything. But is this caused from the flare from the camera? I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen this.
So this is one of those things where again, just because again, artist, this is one of those things I actually get to shine and use my artistic skills.
There you
Um,
go.
so this is one of those times you'd want to ask questions. Was this shot on actual film or is it digital? Right?
And that's once
And
again,
that's yeah,
I know nothing other than what we talked about on beforehand. I
I
know
know.
nothing about the photo. Judging
Right.
from what I'm seeing when I zoom in, all right, when I zoom in, you don't see a pixelation. You see a blurring, right?
Yeah.
That leads me to believe film right
Yeah.
away.
So yeah, I'm thinking this is film just by but once you get in close, you can kind of see yeah, it's not really pixelation, but that is what you get with film when it's darker. So
Yeah,
I think, and again, because we don't have, like you said, the questions you would want to ask if someone were to bring you a photograph like this, right? And this is just for the audience, right?
yeah,
It's like, hey, you'd want to find out, is it done digitally or is it done on actual film? What's the story behind the picture? Because sometimes it's even if you could create an explanation for the photograph, the story behind it matters. And so, like, the question I would have here is, was this supposed to be a picture of an empty backyard, or are you taking a picture of a woman? Because I think that for
yeah.
me, what I'm seeing is this is a photograph of a woman in the backyard in this, in that there's something causing this, like you said,
This,
lens flare.
yeah,
And the reason I may even think it could, like I said, if it is a a film, like I said,
uh
enough about this looks like it's film. If you go zoom back in, then just go down.
yeah. Down here, that was where I
Yeah,
was going to next.
right. That hard line edge at the very bottom, like right
Hmm.
just to the right of it, that tells me this is not I mean, there may have been like a moth or something creating a flare, right?
Yeah, that'd be my
But
daughter that said that.
yeah. Oh, well, I saw that too. I was thinking the exact same thing, but the thing is that hard edge right there, and the fact you have
Yeah,
those, it's a straight bar all the way down. I wouldn't be surprised if there's damage to the film itself happening on this
that
as
kind of
well.
maybe like an overexposure almost.
Yeah, because you don't really get, like, those are three very hard straight lines for something that's exclusively like a lens flare, right? Because lens flares are
Exactly.
traditionally, there's a lot of arcing, a lot of organic shapes, but then when you
Uh-huh.
have that and a hard edge, I'm thinking if it is film, we may be seeing some actual damage or something. But like I said, yeah, this is not. It's not. It's a really cool picture, but this is just something got in the way. Create a lens flare. Maybe there's a little extra damage to the front to the film. Like
Okay,
you said,
well now
overexposure.
here's one of the like I said, I love when we get the audience and the audience starts giving us some stuff to work with here. Debbie Coulter came out with this one, and I saw it a minute ago. I wanted to put this up there because this is right up your alley for this one.
Mhm.
I don't know honestly.
So, okay, that's a great question. So, for those who perhaps can't read it or are listening, Debbie asks, I was under the impression, and I could be wrong, but angels aren't female, and this definitely looks like a lady. So, for the context of the photograph itself, again, it would appear they're taking a photograph of the woman, and that the everything it was sort of like, hey, something else was caught while we were taking this photograph of her. Now, to the
Hmm.
bigger question of angels being women. So you're not wrong. However, there is one interesting there's an interesting point in it's probably Zechariah. I think I'm right on that one. I get things mixed up in my head every once in a while. Where it does discuss two women with wings carrying this thing in a vision. So a lot of people say that's probably, the interpretation is that those aren't angels.
Yeah.
Rather they have larger symbolic meaning. And so traditionally when we have something that is explicitly that is told to us to be an angel, it is always male. Again, these pictures of, a biblically accurate angel, that's all made up. People say, oh, it comes from the story of Ezekiel's wheel. No, it doesn't. It's all fake.
Yeah.
Like, that's not
Yeah.
what Ezekiel's wheel actually looks like. The fact that we call it Ezekiel's wheel is a problem, because there's not one wheel, there's four. They're the actual chariot wheels on the throne of God. Um,
Yep.
most Nearly every time we see an actual angel, they look like humans. The seraphim, aka cherubim, it's the same creature, just
Okay.
Isaiah was doing something different when he called it a seraphim. They do look more weird, but they are not angels. They're a higher
Okay.
celestial being. So, yeah. Now here's the thing: can an angel take a female form? There's no reason to think that they couldn't if that was what was required, because
Exactly.
they're not male or female. They are a higher angelic being. Can they take material form? Yes, that is undeniable. Now traditionally though, when we see that occurring, it is male. Again, we see the creation of the Nephilim, but again, there's no reason to think they can't appear as female, and there's some non-biblical stories that would allude to that being a possibility. But again, traditionally, angels do not actually have a sex of their own. They are, however, traditionally masculine
Yep.
and regarded as such. So
Yeah.
there you go.
And it's all subject to interpretation, obviously, as well, too, because you're talking
Hmm.
about just look at, and I know I'm going to geek out here for a second, but look
Please
at the
do.
movie Look at the movie Constantine. Who
Yeah.
played Gabriel?
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton, right?
Yep.
I would not mess with Tilda Swinton if I was somebody in that situation at all.
Hmm.
She was quite the well, she always is quite ass kicker, quite frankly. Sorry about that if it offends anybody, but that's just straight plain simple truth. She's
Hmm.
built for those roles,
Yeah.
and she brought a different level to that role and to that character than we even saw in the Legion movie.
Yeah.
So that's just personal opinion. So
Well, and again, we're dealing with creatures that are, again, not of our world. They exist in another
exactly.
dimension. Anytime in scripture we see on that side of the veil, it's they are trying to describe what they are seeing, and it's often just having to be reinterpreted in a way that makes sense to us, right? It's not necessarily that's what they're literally seeing. So yeah, I mean, but however, again, it goes back to, can an angel be female? We can't say no. However, the ones that we know of definitively are masculine, but again, they're not actually male. That's a human
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. And like Kevin said here, I mean,
yeah. I mean, yeah.
it
I mean, that's the thing
depends
is,
on who they're coming to visit. Yeah.
yeah, they do seem to take whatever form that they want to take in a way to communicate with us, right? So
Yeah.
there you go.
Exactly. So now I'm going to go to. We're going to put this one to bed because once again, this is one that I can't say yes, I can't say no, but it leans everything to be kind of a mistaken identity almost type situation.
Yeah.
The woman's there. Something happened that caused either damage to the film, or there was a overexposure on that
Hmm.
particular part of the film, or it was some sort of bad reflection, one way or
Yeah.
the other. But as you know as well as I do, with old film, that could happen real easy. It doesn't
Oh,
take much.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, we get that, and
Well, particularly at
I could
night,
say,
right? At night, you have the
yeah,
shutter speed at the right, you because you're having to get more light into the camera
exactly.
because it's at night. So yeah, overexposure is a real easy thing to have happen.
Yep. Just ask anybody that's done star pictures. I mean, literally, you have to set it
Yes.
out there for a 30-minute exposure, half the time. So,
Hmm.
okay, so we'll bring that one down for a second and think about this a little bit more, because now we're going to talk about one that you told me you kind of knew about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this
It
one,
hit the
yeah,
it hit the
I don't
interwebs a
know.
few years ago.
This one hit the interwebs a few years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, well, I'm, me and my skeptic being in the first place.
Right. Of
So
course.
I kind of look at everything with really tinted, and well, I shouldn't say rose-colored glasses, but I'm looking at it like that three-quarters of the time, going, But
Yeah.
please explain this one to me.
So for those for the listening audience, what we have is a security image, right? I can't remember if it's a Ring doorbell cam or something, but it was like a security cam.
Yeah,
There's the back of an SUV in the very far right, and then in the middle you have a truck with an extended cab, and then a bed cover, silver truck, and above it is what appears to be, um, people claim to be an angel. There appears to be a head with wings. It's translucent, and the thing is, this has been around for a while. We know this to be a Luna moth that was just essentially too close. It was in flight while
okay,
when and it actually triggered the camera, and
wow,
so that it's just very very close to the camera. So yeah, it's a Luna moth, and it's out of focus because this is a security cam, so it's auto focused for further
yeah,
out, right?
exactly. So
And
this
again,
is
it just
relatively close.
yeah, it's relatively close, and that's why. So again, that's why it looks the way it does. But it's not just a moth; it's a Luna moth, very specifically. And this one was sort of it made the rounds a couple of years ago. But yeah, that's what it is, and it's one of those things where when you at first it does look real creepy when you see it. But it's we know what it is, and when you
Yeah,
kind of see, oh, it's a moth. It looks like a moth, like it's just, oh, that's what it is, right? It's just in flight, um, which is why it has that look to it. But interesting little tidbit on this, right? The idea that spirits of any kind would appear as these translucent figures, that where you don't see the feet, that is actually a very recent phenomenon
really.
as far as depictions of, and this is one of those things where we need to think cultural context, and how does culture affect when we look at something. Are we for pareidolia, but also our interpretation of something. If you talk to somebody even 300 years ago or even 200 years ago and
Yeah,
ask them to describe what a spirit would look like, they would describe seeing a person, right?
yeah,
They wouldn't describe necessarily, they wouldn't say, hey, yeah, it was translucent, or they wouldn't expect it to be translucent. They wouldn't expect
no,
it to be, they would describe as being just a fully formed person or entity or something, right? They would
yeah,
never have done this idea of it being translucent and this floating apparition kind of a thing. The reason that came into being was the old phantasmagoria stories of the 18th, I'm sorry, the 19th century.
yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what that is, right? It's okay, real quick, there's a star Brandon here. I'll just do that real quick. Brandon
Yeah,
Coast has
good.
a great
Brandon's
yeah,
Devine.
but we'll do that here in a second. Yeah. We'll do that. I'll finish the story about the
Okay,
Phantasmagoria,
gotcha.
then I want to see that. So what they were before photos and pictures and everything, they were these displays, and like people would tell stories, right? And they were essentially ghost stories, is what it was, right? And horror stories with ghosts, but they would take these photographs and they would be projected essentially on walls.
Yeah.
And so it gave this idea. So this idea of ghosts appearing as these translucent floating figures comes from these phantasmagoria setups
Okay.
that were all the rage in the late 19th century. So
Cool.
that just a little
Okay.
bit
So
of
now,
context for you. So there you go.
yeah. So and then what you talking about with Brandon?
Yeah. So it's not actually a beam. That is a it's like a railing for stairs. So there's like some stairs. It's either no. I'm sorry. That's the flashing in the house behind it. My bad. My bad.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
it looks like I can see the little window up there. Is that
Yeah.
what it is? Okay.
It's essentially just, again, because this is a security camera that's going off, and so it has that flash. That's just a flashing on the side of the house.
Okay. Cool. All right. So that takes that one. Hey, guess what? Somebody says it. I get to do it. Yay me! You didn't make you a hat, did you?
I didn't. I'm sorry.
Some people's kids. Some people's kids.
It's true.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
All right. So now we've debunked that one, or you've explained exactly what we actually did.
Yeah.
So that takes care of that one. Now there was one other one. Now we were talking a little bit about the guardian angel side of it, a little bit,
Right. Mhm.
and people, and I could tell stories all day long about my daughters, the twins, when they were in their little
Mhm.
in their bed, their cribs, and I had a little mobile up there before 'em, and the younger of the two, she get all happy with all the mobiles, but then she'd look up in the corner of the
Yeah.
room there,
Mhm.
look up the corner of the room and just start giggling and doing all this stuff. And then later on, she actually described her grandmother. Now she was
Yeah.
born in 2000. She described her grandmother, called her Grammy too, like what all her
Really
sisters did. Called her Grammy, described her, and she was dead probably 5 to 6 years before she was born.
interesting. Yeah,
So
that's a very common story. So
yeah,
yeah.
very much so.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, watching them and then watching them in the crib. It's one thing to watch them playing with the mobile and reacting to the mobile above them. But
Yeah.
when they look into the corner, they're not looking at the mobile. They're looking in the corner and they're interacting with something.
Yes.
They are literally interacting with something. So I've got
Mhm.
no qualms with telling somebody, hey, kids, young ones especially,
Oh,
see
absolutely.
things that we do not. Just like animals, they
Mhm.
see things that we do not see. We've trained
Completely agree.
ourselves not
Yes.
to see it, and they're open to it. Is what the
Yes.
way I look at it.
No, I completely agree. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if particularly angels and other spirits are sort of there again as sort of protectors, but also just to kind of calm them. And because I mean,
Yeah.
imagine how traumatic birth
Yep.
is, you know, and that
It,
whole. And so
yeah.
yeah, I'm right there with you. I think, particularly, you know, cats, dogs, and children, and very very young children. I think if they are able to see into that. I think they're more likely to see into the spiritual world. And
Yeah.
again, like you said, when you see a child looking, a very young child, and they're looking at something very specifically, it's like
Hmm.
there's probably something there, you know.
And see, we got a couple of them, on that same bit there, like with Donna. I had a
Hmm.
sick dog that played with a ghost in my bed. That very well could be,
Yeah.
and Brandon, he said it right too. All their senses are fresh. They have not, you
Yeah.
know, been polluted like we have. I'll say it that way. We've been
Yeah.
polluted
I
as
agree.
to what to think and what to see. So,
Hmm.
kind of like when you're trying to watch the stars. If you're too close to the city, you get the light pollution
The
that
light
you
pollution.
cannot see
Hmm.
certain stuff. But you go
Yep.
out in a desert, there's a lot more stars that people realize are out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I think, and honestly, most people, even people who are sort of not clued in on the
Yeah.
paranormal or the supernatural, and they kind of even most people I've talked to said, yeah, I think they probably are seeing something. Even the ones who again are the people I'm like, seriously, you claim to be Christian, but you don't want to talk about the supernatural. Even a lot of them will say, yeah, kids can see things. Like they
Yes.
admit that. So it's like,
Yep.
yeah, I think this is a pretty universally accepted idea. So,
I think so too. I think people just want to accept it too.
mhm,
They just
mhm.
they want to accept it. So, but that's what leads me into this picture right here. This one right here kind of caught me when I was out doing a little bit of research trying to find pictures and such.
Yeah.
Now, they put out there "Are angels real?" That's what was the caption. I didn't get any. There was no
Mhm.
other information on it on the. But as you could tell, that child may not be reacting to this particular mass or apparition or angel or
Right.
whatever you want to call it. It looks like the child is looking at whoever's holding the camera.
Yeah, someone was yeah, this is a I mean, this is definitely an older, photograph,
Yes.
so it's definitely on film.
Yeah.
And yeah,
'Cause I'm
that child is
you zoom in,
smiling, yeah, is reacting for the
but see,
to the
there's no
camera.
pixelation. It's just blurring.
Yeah.
There's no pixelation.
Well, also the fact that it's
That's
got a
film.
tube television in the back.
Shh. We're not that old. Be quiet.
We absolutely are. That's a dude, that's a big screen, but that is a tube television, that's a VCR underneath it.
Yeah, and that screen's probably the old 39-inch that was the monster for the day. You
Mhm.
know.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, this is I mean, I had honestly had a tube television up till the early to mid 2000s. So, but I
I
mean,
think I did
obviously
too,
this is
back.
shot on film. What?
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
did too. Actually, until about 2005 was the first flat screen I ever bought.
Yeah. So and again, for those who are listening, it is a small child, probably like what, 18 months,
Maybe.
maybe a little bit older,
Hmm.
standing next to what looked like they would been leaning on
Yeah, it looks like they just pulled themselves
a
up.
couch. Yeah. And they're taking the photograph. There's a again a very large tube television behind, but the area behind the child
Yeah,
is like a white mist
yeah,
or
and it's
haze.
not translucent. It's not
Yeah,
translucent at
it's
all.
fully opaque.
Yeah, which
Mhm.
on film would beg the question: Is it an overexposure? But I would not think so. In that kind of a line on on the right hand side.
Yeah, it's a very definitive. Like it's can you close in a little bit more and then drop down to where the child's elbow is.
Yeah, almost
So
like it's
here
helping.
yeah, so well here's my thing, right? Like I would love to say that this is just overexposure or damage to the film. That was sort of my
Yeah.
initial thought. But here's my thing, right? And I do agree. I think there could be because there if you look just to the left of the whitish image, there
Uh
is
huh.
something there, right? That's dark.
Yeah.
It looks like
I
there
see.
may be something there, right? Like a
Yeah.
couch or maybe something else or whatever, we don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Just can't
but
tell, unfortunately.
right. So when we look at just the white thing itself, if it was damage to the film, I would expect to see that damage sort of affecting the picture of the child, but it doesn't.
No,
It looks
dead
like it's
stop.
either yeah, it stops around the child's arm, like the child is actively
Yeah.
overlapping it.
Or his butt. I mean, they say it
Yeah,
like
the
that, but
butt,
it
same
stops
thing.
right
Yeah.
around the butt,
Yeah.
like it was helping to make sure he was not going to fall backwards.
Right. And there's even kind of looks like it could be like some illumination around where the butt and the elbow
Right in
are.
this area.
Yeah, like it's actually being lit up by the thing behind it.
Yeah,
Um, so
and it does. It does look
yeah,
like it
it
right here.
does. So again, it's not like it couldn't. Again, this is still a fairly dark photograph with a flash on it, right?
Yeah,
So could there be something behind there that's causing it? Maybe.
maybe.
But
Yeah,
my problem is it's to the left of the photograph, it's sort of like it looks like the glares would
it's
be going
black.
that way. Yeah, and then there's
Yeah,
black. But it's such a hard I mean, it's not a exactly hard edge, but it's like it does seem to stop near the child. So
yeah.
I don't know. That looks to me like I'd be willing to think again, we don't know when
No,
this
no,
was
of
taken
course not.
exactly. We don't have, I would want to know what's behind the child, right? But
Yeah,
this
and
yeah, yeah, I'm thinking
my
this is
personal
something.
opinion, this light, quite frankly, the light that it's capturing or whatever, whether or not it was seen by the naked eye at the time or not,
Mhm.
that light and that mist that you're seeing there is what's causing the darkness here,
So I was
honestly.
thinking I had the same thought. That's the as a possibility. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because that's do I this is a personal opinion. Of course, I believe in angels. Anybody that's ever been in the line of fire at any one time or another, you better believe in them at one time or
Mm-hmm.
another.
Yep.
But I believe in them more so when it comes to taking care of kids,
Yeah.
young ones, and quite frankly, other animals too,
Yeah,
because
that's fair.
they're the innocent souls that they're here to help protect anyway.
Yeah.
That's personal
Um,
opinion, though.
no, I'm right there with you. I'm going to throw up Roger's
Yeah, go ahead.
comment
Go ahead.
because I think there's several others that sort of indicate the same idea. Could it
Yeah, I
be
think a
someone's
couple of them did.
finger, right? Like, and I could see that, right? So
Yeah,
Roger asked, could it be someone's finger dropping in front of the lens? Um, again, goes back to the whole. Oh, sorry. Things move.
that's okay.
It's so I could see that argument, right? That maybe that dark
Yeah,
mass to the
and
left
to see
is
that,
the
you'd have to
is
back out
someone's
and see the
photo.
whole thing.
Yeah, that it could be someone's photo in front of or finger in front of the thing, and then maybe the reflection off of the fingernail.
A
I think someone.
fingernail or something like that,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
But
So,
for that picture like that, that means that the camera, if you're holding it like this, it had to have been turned like this, first of
and
all.
I think it was because
So that
it looks like
means
it's a
this
5 by 7.
yeah, so that
Yeah.
means this finger or this finger would have had to been dropped down right in front of it.
Hmm.
But you're talking about unless it was a like a 110 style picture or
Yeah.
camera, you're talking about that finger's got to get all the way down in front of the lens.
Yeah.
That's kind of a reach.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you on that. I think you're right. I think it's not impossible, but it just feels the light again, the light itself looks odd. So yeah, I saw someone say it for some reason my thing's not scrolling up. Someone said it, I'm going to
Mine wasn't
repeat it.
earlier either. So
Yeah.
which one?
It's not debunkable.
No,
But I like that
no,
phrase. Yeah, I don't think we can debunk this.
no.
Yeah,
That one right
moon at
there.
noon. Yeah. Given the information we have and what's kind of
Yeah,
going on, yeah, I
we
mean,
can't do it.
yeah, Brandon Coates, like it looks like it could be, a chemical burn. Like I said, that's why I always throw out damage. My problem is the again, I always want to defer to something like that, and I think that's a possible argument. My problem is the way it reacts around the child. That's my
Yeah,
problem. It doesn't. We're not. If it overlapped with the child, I'd be more willing to say that could be what it is. But again, we can't
but
say that it's not. So I'm not
no,
saying
no.
it's. Yeah, we're not saying it's legit, but we are saying it's. I can't debunk that. That's all, and I like
Okay,
that phrase. It's not debunkable.
we're gonna have to ban Tex. Obviously, he's sitting there talking about it and sees a unicorn now. I don't know what the heck's going on. I don't know what he's drinking or what he's smoking, but
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly there's a unicorn.
I want to go back to the Dumbo and watch the pink elephants on parade. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So, oh, and a quick side note to everybody: all the people are out on the Texas front porch chatting out there. Reminder: after next week, there will be no more. This will be solely on Truth of Tinfoil channel, beginning the 31st. So we're trying to get everybody to start heading that away over to the Truth of Tinfoil channel to actually watch and chat. And
Like,
that
follow,
ends
and
my public
subscribe.
service. Like, follow, and subscribe. Don't
Hmm.
pull it. Don't be a don't be a Robin. Like, follow, and forget about it. He showed up. He showed up yesterday. He was like, "Hey, this is kind of cool." I'm like, "How much have you had to drink, Rob?" But so that was, I think, the majority of my. Let me see. I think I might have one more picture. Yep, I got one more angel picture because I was doing my looking on some of this stuff, and I was like, "You have got to be kidding me! Where did this come from?" Type thing. Why
Right.
is it
Yeah.
not going to it though? It's all right. Hang on. I'm getting my system to catch up with me here. All right. And this one, I don't know what to say on this one, honestly. This one is one of those that I I can't I can't say it's real. I can't say it's not
Yeah.
because unfortunately this one is one that it's got stuff happening all over it. So
Okay.
I'll let you see what you think about this.
All right, scroll in. Yeah,
I don't have anything about it because I have number one, I have no information on it at all.
right. And
And
that's always a problem.
well, and that's but as you know, with this show, well, this is the way we like it. We want to go in and look at it, period, and say what do we think about it. Now, without knowing anything about it, I would think that this back here, this area, there's bushes behind it. This might be a graveyard, possibly.
Yeah, I could see that being a graveyard because if you look to the left at the sort of like bottom left hand corner, it looks like there are rectangular objects and
down
shapes.
down in this area.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, but this could be a garden. But yeah, it could
yeah,
be. This could be a graveyard of some kind. Um. So
but that's definitely a
again,
tree or something out here. I think,
yeah, it's definitely
or some sort
somewhere.
of foliage.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely outside. It's definitely a garden of some kind, or like you said, outside-ish. But
Yeah,
yeah, I could see this being like a cemetery of some kind, like an older cemetery.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with my default on this one because again, we don't know the provenance of it. We don't know
yeah,
the story
exactly,
behind. I'm kind of gonna go with not with fake on this one. It just, and I'm not even gonna say any specific reason. It just feels wrong to me. Like
exactly.
it feels artificial. Let me say it that way. It doesn't even like someone mentioned like a dove maybe flying in front of the camera.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I,
could see something like that, but I like a double exposure or something, but I think it's
that's kind of what I'm
too.
thinking.
I mean, that's a real
Because
possibility. Like
as
maybe
I
it's
zoom in
a
up here, you can see the tree behind the wing right here,
yeah.
obviously, or what is purported to be the wing, and you don't really see a whole lot here, and it looks like you know the rays of light dripping down at the feet and such.
Hmm.
While I can't see anything, of course, now see it blurs out. I'm pretty sure it's film.
Yeah,
I can't
it
really
feels like an
see true
older.
pixelation. It's an
Yeah,
older
it
one,
feels like
might
an
have been
old.
digitized.
Yeah, this feels like an old photograph that's been digitized, and there's a face. I have a feeling this isn't a deliberate false, like a deliberate hoaxed photograph.
No,
Um, I would have the feeling that this is probably a double exposure. Again, just assuming it's not. If we throw out it being a fake and a deliberate hoax, this is probably something more like a double exposure.
yeah, and I kind of lean that way as well because of the, but because of that translucency up there. But my biggest issue with this is this bears too much of a resemblance to the way they did the overlay pictures with the. You've seen the picture of the ghost lady on the stairs and such
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Hmm.
That's been proven to be an overlay that they did. Whoever did it originally did an overlay essentially was uh, a Madonna statue,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they used that, blurred it in, and then laid it over, and then did it to the actual negative. So that way,
Hmm.
when it came out, it looked like
Yeah.
uh, a white figure on the stairs. This leans where this one doesn't have the same telltale signs. Obviously, the lines that would actually indicate an overlay really well. It still feels to me like it's an overlay more than anything else. And if I would have had to bet on it, I would say somebody did fake this on purpose.
Yeah, well, and so here's the other reason. Again, I was just saying, look, if it wasn't a deliberate fake, then it's a double exposure because you can get that with a double exposure. My thing is,
Hmm.
I'm thinking hoax, and my number one reason is this: it looks like an artistic representation of an angel,
Exactly.
as we
Exactly.
discussed. Angels don't have wings; they're never described as having wings.
No.
Cherubim, which are not angels, have wings.
Yes.
There's like this just looks like someone. I again, my thought is someone probably took a photograph of a long exposure of a statue and just did a double exposure, deliberate
Hmm.
double exposure on. Again, they took a picture of this garden that's maybe illuminated
So they
from
blurred it. Yeah.
yeah, and it's probably at night, and so it's backlit anyway, and they just
Hmm.
exposed the angel over it so it would blend in more with what was already there. That's my thought. That's what I think is happening here.
Yeah. I believe this one the same as you. I believe it most likely is a hoax, and I'll do some more research and see if I can find out anything else on it. But
Hmm.
like I said, this was one of those of just you throw out there and say, "Hey, show me some angel pictures." After you get past everything else,
Yeah.
there it is. Uh oh.
Yeah.
Uh oh.
Yeah,
We got
in
problems.
Ryan, I saw the face too. I mentioned that earlier, and someone
Yep.
says,
Yep.
"Yeah, yeah, it's just
All right, damn it.
Hey, no cursing on my channel.
All
By the
right.
way, I can do that. I still have powers.
What happened?
Since we're, I was late. Sorry.
Don't you have a show coming up in like 20 minutes? What are you doing
Yeah,
harassing us?
because I
Because
can.
he can. Yeah, pretty much. I figured that was
Well,
it.
this is the last show he's.
Really?
This is the last show that he's going to have on my channel.
No, we got next week too.
We have next week.
Oh, okay. So, but and he's yet to ask me to come on.
Well, for
Well,
good reason.
you haven't been nice to me yet. First of all.
First of all,
I
no one
haven't been
needs to
nice
be
to you in
nice to you,
40
Randy.
years, Randy.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. He ain't been nice to me in 40 years. So why would I be nice?
Actually,
Either
I was
way,
nice to you. Actually, I've been nice to you for 40 years because I haven't kicked your ass yet.
That's fair.
how much
That's
you been
real
drinking
fair.
again?
Yeah,
And as you can
y'all listen,
tell, we
Roger.
now
Y'all
have
don't mean
Tex here
be
with
mean to
us.
Tex.
Yeah. What are you doing?
No, I
Sucking
was
us
going to
in?
ask, and I didn't know if y'all have already been through them or not, but
What's that?
Jason's got some pictures of angels.
I have
Yeah.
one photo. We actually were talking
One
Yeah,
about
one
it.
photo. We talked
Yeah.
about it. I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
bring this down and let him bring that up.
So here's the thing. I don't have the digitized version on this laptop. If I'd known we were talking about this, I would have sent it over to this laptop. So I'm gonna
Okay.
go ahead and make myself larger here.
Go ahead.
Let me see if I can. All right, come on. What's the screen layout? Hold on, I'm working on it.
Wrong one. There
All right,
you
there
go.
we go. I may have to turn off my here. Let me turn off my ring light real quick. There.
Yeah,
well,
turn off the ring light. Okay, so
I thought it was a
now I remember
movie.
this picture. I remember you sending me this picture.
yeah. Let me do this.
In fact, I
So
probably got it somewhere in here. But
yeah, so this is one of those things where the story matters a lot. Unfortunately,
yeah,
because again, I don't have the digital version. Okay, so the figure here is actually
yep,
more. It's really more cross shaped, and it is organic appearing.
yeah,
The main thing is you can't see it on the screen.
nope,
Is that it's a much brighter white. It's almost a pure titanium white, whereas the light behind it is more
yeah.
it's more warm
It's a
because it
completely
was
different shade.
it's a very warm full yellow light, whereas this is a very pure titanium white. So the story behind it is actually what's important, because again, I would write it off as a lens flare. Let me turn my light back on. There we go. I would
Oh no,
happily
no, right back off.
I'm the first one to write that one off as a lens flare. Except for two things. One, it's a lot more organic in
Uh-huh.
shape, right? It does look like almost like a bird flying away, but it's the story behind it that really sells it. Where even if, because I'm willing to say, even if it is sort of a lens flare, that lens flare is there for a reason, right? I
Yeah,
think oftentimes God moves in ways where it's like, oh, there's a reasonable explanation for it, but it's like the story around it says, even if there's a reasonable explanation for this thing, the context tells me that that there's a message behind it, and this would be the story. So I was in Honduras, where I met my wife. Actually, same trip,
hmm
completely different story. And we were out again, missions trip. And what we were doing is we had a bunch of good soccer players in my high school group, and they were doing these exhibitions. They'd go and they'd play the local neighborhood
yeah,
soccer team, right?
yeah.
And of course, everyone's like, hey, because everyone's like, let's go watch the gringos get their butts kicked, right? And
Yep, yep.
it's a good time had by all. And then we'd show the Jesus film, right? And of course, we would go and we'd hand out tracts uh, and minister to the people who were there who had come
Yeah,
to watch. That was the idea.
yeah. Okay.
I don't speak Spanish. I speak it very, very badly. I can definitely find out where the library is,
No
and I can find out.
sprechen Okay.
Yeah, and I can order a beer. So not really useful, but I was the sort of security guard for those who are going out further away from the main group, because it's still Honduras, right? It's Honduras in the 90s. So I
Yeah.
was one of those people who was there, and it's like, okay, so when people would go out, the people who could speak Spanish, I was there making certain everything was cool. And we had literally already made the trip around. And I said, hey, you know what? I want to get a picture of, because these houses are built into hillsides, right? And I was taking a lot of photographs because I wanted to draw them later. And I'm like, I want to go back to the other side of the field so I can get that photograph. Well, 2 people go with me. One of them would eventually become my wife. And we're there. I take a photograph and I turn around and a whole new group of kids show up that had not been there before. Well, so my future wife and the other kid who was there, who spoke Spanish, they started talking to them. They all took pamphlets and they went. So long story short, when we're getting back on the bus later, we're getting ready to leave. I look up and I see the perfect photograph was actually right where the bus was. And and again, I had seen it, a dozen times that day, going back and forth to the bus, getting things and helping people and all that. I took the photograph, and on the bus, someone pointed out, they're like, hey, we wouldn't have gone to the other side had Jason not wanted that photograph. And I'm like, the funny thing is the better photograph was right next to the bus. And so I laughed, and literally it was just a joke. I said, I'm going to laugh if I see an angel on that photograph when I get the film developed.
Sure enough, huh?
Uh-huh. So again, I'm not even going to say it's not a lens flare. Now, again, when you see it in person, you can tell it's a very, very different color. It's a titanium white, which is a blue, and the light that's coming in is a very warm yellow light. You would expect there to be, if it's a lens flare, to be more color refraction than just a pure bluish white. But I'm going to say it's a lens flare, but the context tells me it's more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, there you go.
Well, since we got the last 5 or 6 or 7 minutes and he threw you up there, I'm going to throw him up there on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to me, Tex.
This is a picture that I took in Memphis several years ago. It's the 3rd floor of a hotel that is not, thank you, James, that is not, that is locked up. Nobody's in it. Yeah. Now, legend has it that, well, not legend, I mean, it's documented, but back in the 30s, I believe, the superintendent or whatever you want to call him, the innkeeper, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
Came home from drinking one night and went down in the basement, and somehow somebody either knocked him out or he knocked himself out or he fell asleep and rolled under the boiler and baked to death.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not good.
And I took, this is the 2nd or 3rd picture in a 3-picture series that I just went click, click, click. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's this is the only picture that this showed up in. So, and we were on a ghost tour at the time, me, my youngest daughter and her best friend. And, we showed it to the ones that were given the tour and everything. And they were very excited about it. They said they'd never caught anything like that. And, the thing about it is the picture gets better even if you zoom it in.
Yeah. I mean, cause you
start to see details, and it looks like a burned body.
Yeah. That's a face for sure in that area right there, if you ask me. As you could be easily see a Freddy Krueger-esque type thing here,
Yeah. So, and I know you were very skeptical when I first showed you this picture. You were very skeptical.
Well,
but when I explained to you, it was one of a 3-picture series that was taken. That gives
that gave it more. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Right. But I think that's one thing that we need to learn. If we catch something, we need to go back and try to reproduce it as soon as we can.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and that's like, here's my other question. You said it was 2nd or whatever in a 3-picture series. Was there that same dark line right here on all of them? You see what I'm talking about? It was on all of them, right? So that tells me that there's a wall behind that window. When you took the picture, the silhouette of the wall came through. So that even lends more to this, because now you've got this looked to me to be in front of the window.
It's in front of it.
And definitely the wall is not going to do anything against it because it's outside. It's outside to me because it's blocking out part of the pane right here and blocking out part of the sill right down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem to be overlapping on the exterior instead of the interior. And this is, can I say, beyond the fact that this is a great image, it is a great image, guys.
Yes,
One of the things I think is really important about this and the previous photograph, right? You have the photographers right here.
Right.
They're telling you the context of the photograph.
Exactly.
And to Tex's point, this is 1 in 3. That is a detail that's important. With a lot of these images on the internet, by the way, thank you again, James. That means a lot to us. Maybe not to Randy, but to us it does. Yeah, because Randy doesn't care.
Don't mean nothing to me.
Yeah. No, Randy hates people and goats. But it's one of those things where this is a big part of, because we don't got the Spookatron 5000 patent pending, right? We don't have an objective way to observe the supernatural. So when we have these photographs, because it's so, particularly right now, it's so easy to fake something. If there isn't a photograph where it's like, here's the person who did it, and here's their testimony, and here's the story around it, and here's the other, if there are other photographs, here's what's going on, then it's really, the photographs become almost fundamentally useless, because then all you can say is, I can't debunk it off the top,
right?
Or it's like, either I have alternative theories, or I can't outright debunk it. That's all you can say. It's not actually evidence at that point, and that's the problem.
Well, we can go with what Donnie says, though.
Yeah. Which is
well,
probably
if that was the case, it would have shown up in all 3 pictures.
And that's the importance.
It should have. You'd have thought.
Yeah, exactly. So again, this goes back to if y'all are out doing an investigation.
And I took this picture with about 40 witnesses right there with me on the street.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. So, we know you wouldn't be smart enough to hoax a photo like that anyway.
Oh, so. No, I am not.
So that never happened. So yeah, that was never.
Welcome to our world, people. Welcome to our world. You can never have any of us faking anything because we don't know enough to do it.
Sure, we'll go with that one.
Well, you might, but we don't carry you around anyway.
I could, yeah. There's a reason I left.
I could too. That's side the point.
Right. Yeah. The two people over here who could aren't going to, because it would offend us, and there would be no fun.
We get mad at stuff like that. But
anyway,
so dang.
But anyway, multiple photographs, people. Multiple photographs.
Yep. Very much so. So, well, I gotta sit here and start thinking about the lean out now, because Tex is here, and now I gotta sit here and wait for, is Danielle showing up too? So she can come over here too and say hi.
I haven't seen her pop on yet.
Oh, okay. Well, it's all good. But, and give everybody a heads up also, next week also, Brandi will not be here. I will probably be getting between Tex and Donnie. I'm going to give both of y'all a chance at it to actually next week, because I want to talk about the Ningen, because my daughter has sent me some pictures of the Ningen, and or pictures that were out on the internet, so forth, so on, and the legends. So I would like to get Donnie's, because it's quote unquote an Oriental cryptid, is what I'm being told. I haven't done enough research yet on it.
What's the name again?
Ningen. Ningen. What are you asking? What are you laughing about?
I know what Tex is doing.
Okay, well, never mind. I'm not going to ask Donnie on it, because what the hell's a Ningen is what I got. So,
okay. Donnie, how do you not know what that is?
Where the hell did that come from?
What's that?
Okay.
The Ningen?
Yeah.
No, EMR just belched in his microphone. I've got him open on the other screen. I'm like, where the hell did that come from?
Oh boy. No. You put BMR on a Sunday show with you, you're a better man.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Long Island serial killer.
How much has he had to drink first?
Is he sober?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's Sunday. This man is...
It's Sunday. He's been drinking since about 10 a.m.
Oh, not only that, he's on painkillers for his knee.
Oh, dear Lord.
This may
better you than me.
Maybe, this is going to be a really entertaining show here, Tex.
Yeah, I may have to watch this one. This might be funny.
Well, see,
but you guys head over to Texas Front Porch for that one.
Since you said it was Oriental, Donnie's Asian. Okay, there's a difference.
Okay, I'm sorry. It was Asian, and it came from Japan. That's the rumor. Is what I've got is it came from Japan. So I'm thinking along the Asian side / Oriental sides. Why is there a difference?
Sounds like a really bad monster movie. It came from
I'm about to
Japan.
say, hey, if Godzilla -1 can win Oscars, I'm a happy man. All right, so that's all I can say.
All right, Donnie, find out what a ningen is. There you go. Again, it is like a ninja, but just it's an extra ninja. It's an aquatic ninja.
Yes, something like that. I'm gonna do more research because it got thrown at me, like I said this last week, and I saw a couple of the pictures. I'm like, yeah, I'm not putting that on my show. There's no
Text
way.
it to me. Text it to me, and I'll do some research on it. We can talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can talk
Donnie
about it.
has just pointed out that because it's not a human, Oriental is an acceptable term.
Oh, was I being too
No, you were correct.
non-PC?
Tex was being what Tex went full. He went full woke on you.
I really don't think knowing there's a difference between Orientals and Asians is woke. It's called geography.
Is there a difference? Is it? Well, wait a second. But how's that? You talk about Japanese, they're Oriental, right? Is that not right?
Look,
Is
Donnie already
Japanese,
bailed your ass out once, Randy.
I'm
Don't
asking a
push.
question. I'm asking a real question here. Are Orientals Japanese only?
No,
No,
it's cultural. It's a
It's
culture, not a
cultural.
person.
Okay. Well, because they talk about the Orient, I would assume it'd be a geographical area. So
well, yes.
either way, Donnie, I'm sorry that I offended you,
No,
and I
Donnie
want to
said
make
you
sure
were right.
folks.
Tex was the one who was causing problems. And
Yeah,
again,
but
he did
I
tie his
asked
finger.
again, and
Yeah, I know.
anyway,
Mhm.
okay. Well, guys, we're at 57 minutes, and I need to get out of the way so Tex can get on board
Mhm.
with his other show. And I appreciate you coming along there, Jason, for the ride, and Tex jumping in and screwing me all up for the rest of the daggum show. It's okay though. Hey, remember, I'm going to pull a Bob on you in a little bit.
Mhm.
I'm going to start interfering.
I would expect nothing different.
All right, guys. We will see y'all next time. Have fun and take it easy. See you on the flip side.